Here's a question that I'm sure so many teachers and school staff are always asking themselves.
The UK is a tax trap, and I'm going to explain how.
This is when you know the cost of living crisis is a real thing. This is what I got for £19. 19 great British pounds in Lidl.
So what has the UK government been spending your money on?
Keir Starmer just announced he's buying 12 new F-35 fighter jets.
Let's find out if the UK government are robbing its own people. To set the grounds, the UK is expected to make £1.14 trillion in taxes, but it's going to spend £1.3 trillion. Let's find out where all the spending goes. Now, this is all the UK spending. It spends £190 billion on healthcare and social care. Unfortunately, it is still ranked 34th in the world for its healthcare, so I don't know. Then it spends another £88.8 billion on education, which is so outdated, but that's for another video. Then you got obviously defence and other public services, which total up to £170 billion. Then we got £150 million in pensioner spending, another £88 billion in universal credit, which is the same as the education, and then £75 billion in other welfare. I don't know, but the UK does spend more in welfare and pensions than it does for health and education combined. I really think the reason why everyone in the UK is so angry isn't because of the amount of taxes they're paying, but because they're not really seeing a return on the money that they're paying.
Is anyone else fed up with this shitty country? And the cost of living? The fuck is going on? I don't know anyone that isn't struggling at the moment, and is it actually a joke? It's a joke. I work full time. I work 8 till 5, 5 days a week. I pick up weekend work and work in a bar. My boyfriend works full time, picks up weekend work, works in the evenings. And yet we've got a week and a half left till payday, and I'm worried about how the fuck I'm going to feed us. How are we going to feed ourselves? Sorry, what? I've just had to spend my last money choosing between feeding myself and my dogs. Obviously, I fed my dogs. Got them. Harringtons. What the fuck? I just want to go and be able to feed myself and not stress about it, and not worry about how I'm going to get to work. I already have put in to HR to work from home twice a week because I can't afford to drive to the office 5 days a week. I rent a house that's only a 2-bedroom small town terraced house. I don't own my house. My car I've had for 8 years. It's literally falling apart. It's done 200,000 miles. I can't afford to fix it. This is going to go kaput on me soon. Then I'm well fucked. Now what the fuck am I going to do then? Because HR aren't going to approve 5 days a week from home. What the fuck is going on? I just want to do girly things and get my fucking nails done, and I can't because I've got to worry about getting a loaf of fucking bread and a pint of milk and my dog food. What am I doing wrong?
Welcome back to Blighty Blighted. Please help me reach more subscribers and share this video. Our community here is growing, and with it we get stronger every day. Right, I'll tell you what. I've got a bee in my bonnet today. Where on earth has all our tax money gone? We keep paying and paying, yet when you look around the streets, the potholes are deeper than ever, pavements cracked and the buses rattling like they're held together with string. You'd think with the billions they take from us, we'd see some of it spent locally, fixing the roads, mending the bridges, keeping things ticking over. Instead, every year it looks a little worse, like the country's slipping into disrepair. Honestly, it's starting to resemble somewhere you'd expect in the developing world. Not here, not in Britain.
The money that comes into education, where does all that money go? The NASUWT Teachers Union have recently published this report that talks through where some of the money goes. And it is both a fascinating yet quite worrying report. Now, to put this into context, it has recently been announced that teachers' pay will rise by 4%. However, even though the DfE have put an extra 615 million in extra funding, it is still going to leave schools having to find savings of more than 350 million to cover that pay rise. And in a recent interview with Schools Week, the Education Secretary did say there's enormous variation across schools in how effectively money is being used. Some brilliant, some less so. It's only right we're honest about that picture. The DfE will support schools in getting far greater value from their budgets, whether that's saving on energy bills, better banking returns, right? But if you just take If you just look at this report from the union that I'm going to summarise for you, sort that 350 million out straight away. Firstly, looking at the salaries of some of the Academy Trust CEOs, one earning over $500,000, there are 30 earning more than what the Prime Minister earns. Obviously, massive discussion to have about these sort of numbers, but what I will say is all I keep getting messaged about and hearing about are these academy trusts who seem to be laying off so many LSAs, support staff to save money, which I don't think you can justify when CEOs are earning this amount. That surely should be addressed before we are losing adults in classrooms, because who gets a worse deal? The children in these trusts. Next thing around consultancy spending. Academy Trust spent 412 million on consultants, nearly double the amount 5 years ago. Now for me, I spend part of my week in school teaching. The other part I do go visiting schools doing training CPD sessions for teachers. I always like to think that those training sessions are useful, informative, really help move a school forward, and in lots of ways can save schools a lot of money. I was in a school recently. I went and did some training 3-4 years ago, went back to do some AI training. They say within a year of implementing ideas off the training, they'd saved a few £1,000s as far as photocopying costs. Consultants I have a massive issue with are the snake oil salesmen who are coming in doing school improvement or mock steads, these sort of things that don't actually improve anything in a school, and they charge vast amounts of money to basically put staff under even more stress. It also talks about the money being spent on independent special schools. These private schools charging up to £61,000 per pupil compared to £23,000 in state-funded schools, with some of these companies making tens of millions in profit, actually profiting off the SEND crisis in school, money that could be going to help and support these students. Then there is the growing cost of supply teachers. So from the DFE commissioned research, the daily cost of supply teachers was 218 in primary schools, 291 secondary schools, 270 for special schools. However, the average pay reported to the supply teacher was anywhere from 136 in primary, 150 in secondary, 144 for special schools. A total of 3.2 million teaching days were missed because of sickness in 2022, up by 56% from 2 million pre-COVID, and more teachers are quitting the profession, leaving schools struggling to staff those classrooms. These teacher supply agencies are making millions of pounds, while supply teachers are stuck on stagnating pay rates and treated like second-class citizens. The average markup is 38%. So to summarise that, schools spent 974 million on supply teachers, with agencies taking 300 million in fees. They also talk about the revenues of exam boards, reported revenues of over £1 billion. I did make a video yesterday about the amount of money that goes into providing testing at primary, and whether again that is the best use of money. So I will put a link to this document in the description of this video for you to have a thorough read, because it is so eye-opening and it opens up so many discussions about whether the money being spent here is the best use of it, because for me there's so much being spent elsewhere that could be channeled back into classrooms, into making sure we've got enough bodies at the chalk face, support staff, LSAs, those people doing the actual job that makes the biggest difference.
Is anyone else sick of paying through the roof for council tax and just seeing nothing for your money? No value whatsoever for your money. Look at it. Crap everywhere. It's all the way down, it is. So untidy. Like, what are we paying for? It's embarrassing. Where's the money going?
Okay, 1 pack of lettuce, right? 2 things of almond butter, tiny little pots, 1 stick of deodorant, and 1 packet of mince. Yes, it's grass-fed. I like to know that my cows are eating well, okay? That's what I got, and it cost me almost £20. Are we all right? Is everything okay? That, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things cost me almost 20 quid. Yeah.
What's going on with the economy? Why does it feel like everything's going to shit? Before the financial crisis, we had this big economic boom that was driven basically by a housing bubble and the creation of debt by the big banks. That turned out to be completely unsustainable, and we got the financial crisis. But the financial crisis didn't just blow up the banks, it blew up our entire economic model. Shares and houses just stopped increasing in value, and that had been the foundation of like everything. Policymakers kept trying to go back to the good old days. And so eventually they just decided to pump the financial system full of tons of new money. But that created this divided economy where basically wealth increased, which helped the rich, but income stagnated, which hurt the poor. The government just kind of ignored this problem for a really long time because they were just looking at what was going on in financial markets. But then the cost of living crisis hit and the model imploded all over again. They kept trying to go back to the times before the crisis when the rich could get richer without making everyone else poorer, but they can't because the bubble that sustained that model has burst. So instead of fixing the problem, they're blaming migrants and benefits claimants when the real issue is inequality and corrupt politicians.
In the last 15 years, the UK tax take has doubled. So what's happened to our services? Let's break it down. Back in 2010, the government took in just over £500 billion in tax revenue. Fast forward to forecasts for next year, and that figure's expected to hit £1 trillion. That's double the money flowing into government coffers in just a decade and a half. So what explains that doubling of tax? It's not economic growth. Even the communists currently in number 10 have had to admit the economy is flatlining, either shrinking or crawling forward at best. So is it more taxpayers? Well, hardly. If anything, we've got fewer. Since Starmer and his band of policy kleptomaniacs arrived, it's not just the wealthy who've started leaving. It's ordinary, hard-working people earning slightly above average. They're fed up, pouring cash into a system that leaks faster than a Thames Water spreadsheet. Well then surely we must be seeing better services, right? Double the tax, double the benefit. Across the board, NHS, schools, transport, policing, councils, services have been cut, reduced, closed or slapped with new charges. If this were a private business, the exec team would have been sacked years ago and the operation shut down. But because it's government, the decline is funded by force. They take more and deliver less. We're not customers anymore. We're shareholders in a system we can't sell, can't leave and can't question.
So I'm not a poet by any stretch of the imagination, but I've written a poem this afternoon and I thought I'd share it here because it might resonate with a few people. So my poem is entitled Where Did All the Money Go? Woke up skin, check my phone, bank says mate you're on your own, worked all week, broke by 10, do it again and again and again. Bills pile up, prices rise. They say tighten your belt on what? Thin air and lies. They send out checks but not to me. I just get debt and a late fee. Flats for free, hotels booked tight, while I freeze in the dark at night. They tell me help, it's only fair. But what about me? Do they even care? I graft, I grind, still stuck below. So where did all the money go? Maybe it's lost in some MP's pen. Signed away, never seen again. Maybe it's feeding another war. While my fridge is bare, my pocket's sore. Maybe it's fairness, maybe it's right. Maybe it's just one long street fight. One day maybe I'll break free. Till then it's scraps for lads and lasses like me. So I ask again with frostbitten toes, where did all our money go?
Let's start off with your wages if you're on a salaried job. So the lowest rate of tax that you'll pay is 20%. However, it's not actually 20%, it's 28% because it's 20% income tax and 8% national insurance. And if you're at the higher end of the salary scale, I believe it's 45% income tax and almost 12% national insurance. And the income tax that almost every working person pays is not even the start of it. We pay value-added tax on almost everything we buy. We pay council tax, which I genuinely don't know what that's even for. They're absolutely useless. We pay stamp duty for when we buy a property for some unknown reason. Now, this money that we're using to pay for all these taxes has already been taxed. So the UK technically does have a double taxation system. And now imagine if you have a family and you die. Well, guess what? You also pay inheritance tax. Not only inheritance tax, we pay savings tax and we pay tax on our pensions. Money that people have worked all their lives for still gets taxed. And if you drive a car, well, here are some more taxes. Vehicle excise duty or road tax, which we have to pay every year. In some occasions, we have to pay car purchase tax. And if you want to fill that car up with petrol or diesel, well, 70% of what you purchase is tax. But imagine you needed to fix your car. Well, 20% of your repairs is a value-added tax as well. We are taxed when we earn, we're taxed when we spend, we're taxed when we die, we're taxed when we drive, we're taxed on everything. And we're not just taxed once, we're taxed over and over again with the same money. Now imagine if you work really hard to get, I don't know, a regional sales manager job and you're on a good salary. Let's just say that you're on the higher end of the salary scale and you're at the top. Well, your effective rate of tax is 70% of everything you earn. And I'm saying 70% because I'm including the hidden taxes that the person would also have to spend their money on. So the harder anyone works or the better anyone does, the government just come along and take more of it. How is anyone that's not rigging the system supposed to get ahead? And do you honestly think these taxes are used for building a better country? Taxes are meant to be for public services. Do we have good public services? No, not at all. Are we safe in this country? No, not at all. Where is all that tax money going? It's so much money that everyone across the country is paying in taxes. They can't even fix the potholes. There's not a single country I've been to on holiday and thought, this is actually worse than England. Not a single one. Every country I've ever visited has always looked better than this one. How is that possible? My question is, if someone honestly knows where all this money is going, please let me know.
So the left aren't having a good time this week, I hear. Oh dear. Well, we all know about Starmer and his antics and, you know, avoiding Mandelson questions and all of that because he's too busy at a banquet. But anyway, let's ignore that because we're going to the hard left, which is Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. The hard left are falling as well. She did set up a payment online and told everyone to sign up as a member and give her money. You know, this is for the Your Party membership. She wasn't given permission to do that. That was something that she didn't discuss with them and they didn't agree to. And she's got over 20,000 people to sign up. And so that's over £1 million she's taken fraudulently. And obviously Jeremy Corbyn is not happy. So he does have a conscience somewhere up there. Never thought he did, but he does somewhere up there that, you know, his brain's ticking. And she's been reported to the ICO now. So let's see the outcome of that. But right now she's sat with £1 million. Where that £1 million is, over £1 million is, no one knows. But I hope it's in a normal bank account and they can find it quick and it hasn't been hidden amongst... I can't think that she's hidden it too well, to be fair. So, yeah, she'll be caught out. So that's a hard left falling along with the left. So, says a lot, doesn't it, really? Says a lot. And it also says that it shows that a majority of politicians and people with household names are there for their own benefit. They're there to line their pockets and to get rich. They're not there for you. Don't ever think they're there for you, because of course they're not. They just want to get rich and sod everyone else. And Zara Sultana has proved that. So, where's £1 million, Sultana? Are you going to hand that back? Well, you'll be made to hand it back anyway, but stop scamming people. That might help you and your reputation.
All these crook agencies in the US are being outed. And there's a great website on X. I will tag it below. And they are posting loads of company contracts for places that your money is being spent. There we go. So you, the UK taxpayer, have spent £50,000 to study shrimp health in Bangladesh. You have also been paying for 15 electric Porsches for the British Embassy in Tirana, I think I've said that right, to be donated to Albanian prisons. £151,000 for LinkedIn subscriptions. £110,000 contract for a conference to prevent gender-based misinformation in Kenya. This is a brilliant one. 1.4 billion contract awarded for the refurbishment of the Nairobi High Commission. You can see at the bottom there, fire alarm, small power and data, security works, decoration. Isn't that lovely?
Now, fighter jets are obviously cool. There's just no debate about that. But where's the money going to come from? He's going to need to raise taxes or cut spending somehow. Trouble is, we got too many socialist fannies in Westminster that block any proposed cut to welfare. And I feel like this country is at maximum tax. You really can't push tax any higher without some sort of violence in the streets. So they're not going to raise it, and they're going to end up printing the money, which means ordinary people like you and me end up paying for it through currency devaluation, inflation, and rising costs of living.
I need someone to tell me what British councils actually do. I want someone to actually tell me, because I'd be driving on the road and my suspension is crying because the amount of potholes there are. I have a flat. No, it's a slow flat. So all I do is just refill the air because I can't be arsed getting a new tire, because I know it's going to pop again because the roads are so terrible. Every corner I turn, there's rubbish everywhere. They don't even do basic maintenance anymore. Like the grass is overgrown. There's no flower pots, like communal areas. The streets are dirty. Like what are council's actual jobs except waste money? Even when you go to them for support, you say, I'm looking for a place to live. They put hurdles upon hurdles just to get housing. I'm baffled. I'm actually baffled. What is the point of British councils? They're the most ineffective organisation to ever exist. Maybe back in the day they were doing their thing, but now I'm like, they're a hindrance. I bet you, everyone here knows a story about building and works taking.
So I ask again, where's the money gone? Because it certainly hasn't been spent where the people can see it. I will see you all on the next video. Cheerio.